Yes.
Yes, that's what you want to do.
Awesome.
Hey, everybody. Josh is trying to figure out how to stream to his audience, but we'll get that figured out. And we are live talking about open houses and how to host a successful open house.
I am loving open houses.
Right? Me too. So I think,
Woo!
and Josh, I like kind of what you did last week about segmenting it. So I think we start talking about how to prepare before the open house.
Yes.
How do you prepare, Maria?
Okay. First off, make sure you put up enough directionals where people can find your house.
Yes.
That is so important. I see so many people that just put one on the main road and put a balloon on it. And then I'm still, just like looking everywhere trying to find it. But, make sure you put up enough directionals. I put up at least 4 for my open house. So I make sure that I've got those in my car ready to go. I make sure I've got my sign-in sheet. I have my MLS documents, the full MLS detail printed out. I have my property disclosure statement printed out in case somebody asks for that.
Yeah.
And then of course I have my pretty color flyer printed out that they can take too.
So I do that too. I think I probably take it a step further. So for one, you have to pick the right location for the open house, right? So you don't want anything more than 6 turns. People get lost and people, right? So you need to pick the right location. Then I put signs out on Thursday. And I put signs out on Thursday just so everybody knows that it's happening. And the more people to see the signs, the more people I'm going to have. And so on Thursday, when I put the signs out, I go ahead and I create like an invitation that you are invited to this open house, and I door knock and I give out. I mean, I haven't done open houses in a couple of years, honestly, but last time I did it, I got 5 listing appointments from it, and I got it from door knocking. Because you're door knocking the neighborhood, and of course, they're not going to buy that house. But as you know, all neighbors are nosy neighbors, right? And they want to see inside the house, and you're giving them a reason to step inside the house. And of course, if they don't want to list, then I'm like, hey, well, invite your friend. Wouldn't you want to pick your neighbor? So I think that is all really good. And then, like I said, I take it crazy steps, but I come up with like a neighborhood CMA. So everything that has sold is listed and under contract. And I make about 10, I make them into books, and I make about 10 of those, as well as books about that house with the disclosures and the MLS and everything like that. So then if I have somebody from the neighborhood coming in, I give them the CMA, neighborhood CMA. And if it's a potential buyer, of course, I give them the buyer one.
Right.
Okay. Yes, girl.
Yeah, right.
I'm stepping up my game.
But I told you, I told Josh that my first year in real estate, I started at Coldwell Banker, and I started in September. And from September to December for that year, I did $5 million, and it was all from open houses. And our average price point at that time was $175.
Right.
Y'all, it's amazing. If you, agents out there in the world, if you are not having open houses every weekend, you should be. Borrow someone's listing if you don't have a listing. Contact somebody in your office. Have an open house.
Absolutely. Because nobody cares if you do an open house at their listing. Hell, I'm excited. I'm excited when somebody wants to do an open house for me.
Well, and I just want to throw it out there because there's some confusion also on, hey, are open houses good for sellers or good for agents? And I just want to dispel this myth because I think they're good for both, right?
Exactly.
And when people ask me that question, when a seller asks me that question, I can say, you got to understand, all marketing is good marketing. That is the name of the game. And even if statistically speaking, the probability is lower that the buyer of your home is going to come through that open house, all marketing is good marketing.
Right. So that's exactly right. Because you're giving them more marketing for that.
More marketing, more Facebook Live, more social media. And, we have had luck with buyers of, our listings actually coming through these open houses as of late. So I just want to dispel the myth that open houses are only for realtors, because they do benefit sellers also, right?
You're 100% right, Josh. And I think activity breeds activity. So you're right. Even if that buyer doesn't come through the open house, about 90% of the time I get an offer Monday. So
Right.
it's just that exposure and that life and that activity.
Right.
And how many times have you been sitting in an open house too that you have picked up an excellent buyer?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'll tell you, my little historic home down in Beaufort that sold, 2 offers on it the day after the open house. I picked up 2 wonderful buyers that, I mean, I'm even considering friends. And here's the thing. Yes, I've got my sign-in sheet in there, but I'm going to tell you what I do is I just interact with people. Y'all can't tell I like to talk to people. So I just start interacting with people and, you know, just try to start clicking with them because, you know, have your system in place. But really, you know, you've got to be yourself, and they, you know, they're there to see the home, but you know, they want to see what you can do too.
Right. So as soon as you get in the home, you make sure all the lights are on, you pick up anything that needs to be picked up, all the blinds are open. And you're right, it's all in presentation. So when they walk through the door, I usually greet them out the door if I hear them coming in. And I talk about them. How are you doing? What are you looking for? Where do you currently live? And I get them, everybody likes to talk about themselves. So you're right, Maria.
Yes.
You just start engaging. And then the other thing I do that's kind of funny, because, you know, a lot of times I'll have 5, 6, 7 people come through and I don't remember. So I will, after they leave, I'll take the sign-in sheet and write my little notes about what they said, kids, if they had kids, husband, whatever their situation is, I'm going to write my little notes. So at the end of it, I'm going to follow through with an email, text, or letter if I have their mailing address, calling out, it was great meeting you and blah, 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 you know,
100%.
to make that to further that connection.
Hey, you ladies know my mind works in a very chronological way.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that you're that way.
I was trying to do that.
No, you set me up and I was trying to get on Facebook. So, but anyway, I think we also need to talk about, because if I'm an agent, one thing that's not discussed about is when is the actual best time to host an open house based on, you know, where you live, based on seasonality. This is a hot topic because I know in Michigan, you know, in summertime, we're not big on open houses on the weekends. We move to weekdays. Yeah. So talk about that. Like if I'm a new agent, how am I determining when I'm going to host an open house?
See, I think that is interesting. So for us, we're in the Bible Belt, right? So if you have an open house before 12 on Sunday, it is blasphemy. I mean, nobody's going to come in and you're going to get shunned.
Me too.
So,
yep. Like, nope.
So on Sundays, it's like 1 to 4. And then on Saturdays, I do, you know, that's so my personal, what I like to do is 11 to 1 to kind of get it out of the way. But with here, I mean, if it is too pretty outside, I agree with you, Josh. We have beaches. People want to be at the beaches on the weekend. If it's a thunderstorm, they're not going to come out. But if it's like a cloudy, sprinkly kind of day, oh, hell, all about the open houses.
Yeah. Well, and I think the point I'm trying to make is we don't need to limit open houses to weekends, right?
That's right.
Open houses can be very effective on a Monday night, on a Tuesday night from 5 to 7 p.m. So I just want everybody to understand that it doesn't have to be a Saturday from 11 to 1. Now, statistically speaking, I think in most cases, like that 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. window on a Saturday or Sunday, after, you know, people are done with their morning activities. But I just bring that up in Michigan. Our summers are so sacred up here because it's a short window.
Yeah.
Where our open house activity actually decreases a little bit, like on a nice Saturday afternoon. People, you know, are not out and about looking. So we shift that a little bit to your Monday, Tuesday. So, you know, pick your time based on what you think is going to be the most active and take seasons into account, right?
100%.
I'm normally I'm a Saturday girl. And I think, you know, I'm just, you know, very traditional, but I will tell you, I've seen agents have very much successful open houses doing sunset open houses. You know, we live by the water here. So pick a day that it's going to be a beautiful high tide at 5 o'clock and have a sunset mimosa open
that's a great
house,
idea.
and, you know, make sure that, you know, the sun is setting and it
Right.
looks beautiful that day.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And another thing that just popped in my mind, and Josh, I'm killing your mindset, so I'm sorry. But
That's
also
okay.
when I put signs in the yards, like, because I'm putting it at every turn, a lot of times it's going in somebody's yard, I knock on their door and ask them if it's okay.
Oh, Jennifer,
Right.
that's nice.
Well,
Right.
you know what? But I get listings from it.
I bet you
Because
do.
I'm being courteous and just saying, hey, have an open house. Can I leave the sign in your yard Thursday through Sunday or Saturday or whenever the open house is? But that is, I mean, you know, I like it. Because we're in a people sport, right? We're in a face-to-face. So the more times you can get face-to-face with somebody, the more probability you have of gaining a new client.
Right.
Absolutely.
Would you agree that any agent, new or experienced, that wants to execute open houses at a high level should have a pretty detailed open house checklist to follow?
Yes.
I mean, I think that's key with any newer agent, experienced agent. Like, work on what that checklist is. Everybody's going to maybe do things a little bit different, but I like how we're starting with picking a time. Then we're moving into, okay, where are we actually promoting this from a social media perspective? How are we promoting it? Are we doing some personal videos? Are we doing some Facebook Lives? Like, you can add that to your checklist. Then what you both said, Jennifer specifically, is door knocking. Are you going to door knock? We call that like the 10-10-20 rule. 10 houses on each side, 20 houses across the street, and just let them know that you're having an open house. Come on over. So that's a part of the checklist.
Yeah, and then if I do that on Thursday, then I follow up with phone calls. Okay, I have that personality. Then I follow up with phone calls too, and I'll pull up from Vulcan 7, the neighborhood.
Right. What do you think, Maria? Did we lose her?
I think she froze, but I know what she's talking about. And actually, I am meeting with her at R4 to learn what all she is using Vulcan 7 for, because I just got that. So and she's having a lot of success. So I'm going to pick her brain at R4.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, we see you now.
You're unfrozen. You're unfrozen.
Okay, good. So ironically, you guys have frozen. I guess it was me, but
it's your turn. It's your turn.
I want to dig a little bit deep on that. Jennifer, what you were saying is, I always look at this as like, again, two ways. I brought it up. How are we growing our business, but how are we also working for the seller here, right? Like, you calling all of the neighbors and explaining the opportunity for the open house and selling the house. I mean, that is a serious value that you are adding to a seller.
Yes, and guess what the neighbors do? If they're friends with the seller, they call them and tell them.
Right. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I would agree. It works.
I have been having a lot of success, and I have not been focused on sellers. I love you guys because I learn so much from you. I do need to flip that over, and this is the perfect idea. I've got Vulcan 7. I'm paying for it. Why would I not call everyone in that neighborhood and say, hey, stop by. You may have a friend that wants to buy the sign.
That's exactly right.
Well, yeah, and whether you like it or not, whoever walks through that open house is immediately forming an opinion of you, right? And they're gonna ask themselves, is this somebody I want working for me? Because I'm analyzing what they're doing right now. How prepared are they? Like, if they're gonna host my house, like this is exactly what I can expect. So we better bring our A game. You better have you better make an impression. You can do that in a lot of different ways. Like Maria, you said, I mean, food, champagne, whatever it takes to just, like, some of these higher end houses, when people walk in on a Sunday afternoon and we're offering champagne and snacks, I mean, people immediately relax. They're grateful. You got to think about all the small details about how you're going to truly make an impression on that person walking through the house.
I love when they sit down on the couch and start talking to me, because then I know that you're interested in the home. Then I'm like, yes.
And then, Maria, do you do follow up? How do you do follow up with the people that came through?
I actually take my list and, sometimes they'll leave a business card instead of signing in. I'm good with whatever they want to do, but I follow up and thank them for coming to the open house. And I will text them and email them if they give me both options. I will do both. And then in the email, I take the opportunity to again attach my beautiful flyer to remind them what house they stopped by, in case they went to multiples that day.
Absolutely. And they usually do. So years ago, back when my kids were small, I brought my oldest daughter with me because she is super quiet and loved to read. So she was just sitting there reading, and a couple came through. Then they left for like a couple hours, and they came back through, and they had been to every open house that day. And it was interesting because they came down, the husband knelt in front of my daughter and took her hand and was like, "Will you please allow your mom to be my realtor?" He was like, "I've been to every open house, and your mom was the most informative. She was the nicest. She explained the process. Like, she took the time to explain everything with me when nobody else did."
Right.
So it's making that connection, like you said, Maria.
So
But that was
important.
cute that he did that. I was like, my daughter was like, "Oh, this is so wonderful."
Yep.
That's amazing.
So we covered a lot of ground. Does anybody have
absolutely.
anything else? Because I was just going to say, like, the biggest thing I'm going to go back to is we talked about a lot of different strategies from start to finish. We started with picking a time and ended with following up after the open house, and all the in between, all the marketing, all the signage, all the seller and buyer packets at the house, all the door knocking. So I just want to say, like, what I'm getting the most out of this is having a checklist that you can follow and stick to it. That's probably the biggest weakness of maybe agents that are kind of doing open houses a little bit half-assed. You're going through the motions. And I always tell people on my team, I say, listen, if you're going to take 2 hours out of your day on a Saturday,
might as well have it productive, right?
Yeah, either you're wasting time or make it count. So let's try and make it count, right?
Yeah, right. And I do have a checklist. So if anybody wants my checklist, just DM me, call me, text me, send me an email, Facebook message, whatever you need to do, and I'll shoot it over to you.
That's awesome. One thing I was thinking about, do we have challenges? Do y'all have things in your area? Like, I have certain challenges for open houses, like condos can be a little difficult to get people navigated, to get through. And I have some neighborhoods that don't allow signs.
They won't even allow the sign for the open house, Maria? Have you tried to go to the HOA?
That don't even allow open houses. I do have some that don't even allow them. So,
well,
yeah.
Usually I would go to the HOA and ask, if I could have the sign for so many days. But if they don't allow open houses, I don't think there's anything you can do about that.
Okay, so I have done virtual. I've done virtual open houses where I walk people through it. I have done signs on stairways to point them up to where the open house is in the condo complex.
And in the windows of the condos. I've done that before.
Right.
Yeah, just don't give up on, if you hit a roadblock on an open house, don't give up on it, because there's always a way to have an open house. You just kind of have to be creative with it. So I do a lot of social media to advertise mine. So I boost posts, I do lives from the open house.
I love it. I would say the only, just to piggyback off challenges for people to think about, like, we've all promoted an open house of a hot property, and next thing you know, there's literally 40 different people coming through the open house, and it makes it very difficult to communicate with anybody at a high level. So if you know that's coming, or if you feel that's coming, that would be a time to maybe have 2 agents, maybe 3 agents. And try and work that properly. I think that's critical.
Yeah, that's a good point. I had 2 listings across the street from each other years ago, and we did open houses in both of them at the same time. And I had my entire team there. I had 2 in one house, but they were huge homes, so they really needed more than one person anyway. But I had 2 in one and 3 in the other, and it was right across the street from an elementary school. So signs and balloons galore.
Right.
Coloring books for the kids and waters, and I mean, you name it. But we had a huge turnout.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great conversation.
Do open houses.
Yes. Yes. If you want to increase your yearly sales by 5, do 5 open houses that you prepare for and you really advertise for and you solicit business and you take that extra time to do it, prepare for it, plan for it. You will get, I can promise you, you'll get 5 extra sales from it.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll go for that.
Those are good, kids. Thank you.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great day, and let's go out there. I'm not sure about you guys, but we've got a couple open houses scheduled this weekend. So let's go out there, promote it, and make it happen. Okay.
Get it done. That's right. Good luck to you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.